Let's snuggle forever, Brendan.
And let's see.
But I think it's all right. Incineroar getting knocked out now, so Eric is going to have to choose which Pokemon he's going to bring. He only has his last one left, and it will be that Stack Attacker.
Yeah, and he does have, something Stack Attack does like to do is set up Trick Room, and it would do huge damage to pretty much everything on the field. It does huge damage to pretty much everything in the format with a Gyro Ball, but it may not get the opportunity to, be effective in Trick Room, especially if Angel's got that Snorlax in back, because that's one of the few things in the format that Stack Attack is not hitting for max damage with a Gyro Ball. That said, late game Trick Room Stack Attacka is probably the best option that Eric has here.
But at the same time, Eric is also down to his last two Pokemon, so Angel could likely just go for a parting shot onto that Stack Attacka, and then even just going for a player up onto that Salamence as well. Salamence going for the Mega Evolution, and changing its ability to that Aerial Light. Foul Play from the Persian will target that Salamence and take it right at about half, with Salamence returning back with a Double Edge. See how much. Whoa, okay, that's definitely. So it's likely gonna. You think max attack possibly?
Yeah, it's possible. I do believe, and I'm gonna recall and pull some information here from Tommy's stream that he was running an Adamant one, and it's something that I've talked with him about a little bit. That there's a lot of merit to running a little bit of extra bulk on Salamence with Adamant, as opposed to making it max speed, depending on the way that your team covers some of its threats. So I believe that it's Adamant, just having watched Tommy's stream a little bit.
Okay, well, Stack Attacka did get to set up Trick Room, and Mega Manectric is now on the field for Angel's side. So with, Angel still has his 3 Pokemon left, but that Trick Room, though, it might be a bit of a problem. But again, Salamence is going to possibly, Manectric would be the last Pokemon, you think, that would be attacking thanks to the Trick Room?
Yeah, Manectric should be the fastest thing on the field.
Yeah. All right, well, there's the Rock Slide. I believe that was from the Stack Attacka. Persian does avoid it, though, and the Protect from the Manectric. But now there's the Double Edge onto the Persian, but thanks to its fur coat, it's not going to be dealing a whole lot of damage. But Parting Shot onto that Stack Attacka will be lowering its attack stat, and we'll be able to just reset it and bring out his other Pokemon.
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to be looking at here, especially if Stack Attacka starts to take KOs, is there's a little bit of a split in the community right now as to whether they feel like Stack Attacka should be running a Brave Nature to be as slow as possible and make sure it's hitting as many things as it can with a max power Gyro Ball, or if it wants to run a Lonely Nature so that when it Beast Boosts, it gets the attack boost instead of the defense boost.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, though, because why do you want to keep increasing the stat rather than being a bit more offensive and getting more attack power? Switch out by Angel, he's going to be bringing in that Alolan Persian. Salamence going for a Protect now and another Rock Slide from Stack Attacka, so it's going to be dealing a bit of damage there, but again, not doing a whole lot thanks to the Parting Shot and thanks to that Fur Coat. So unfortunately, it's, he's kind of burning his Trick Room turns, but he might be able to set up his Snorlax now.
Yeah, he is burning Trick Room turns, but Angel's also not allowing him into a position where he can take a KO with Gyro Ball.
There's the Protect onto that Stack Attacka with the Fake Out, and frustration from Snorlax targeting that Salamence, so Eric is on his last Pokemon now.
Yeah, and he's down to just that Stack Attacka, and it's just kind of a matter of time here, because when the Trick Room runs out, Eric can basically just cycle Parting Shots and Intimidates indefinitely, and make it so that Stack Attacka is not going to be able to take a KO basically at any point with these 3 Pokemon left, and then it's just a matter of Snorlax getting, a high horsepower or 2 onto that Stack Attacka.
Yep. Rock Slide from Stack Attacka. Again, targeting both Pokemon. Just hoping for the flinch here right now. Gonna get more of that Life Orb recoil damage, but Angel's Alolan Persian is gonna pop its 50% berry, being the Mago Berry. There's the flinch on the Snorlax, and a Parting Shot from the Alolan Persian. So slowly lowering that attack stat further on Eric's Stack Attacka.
Right, and I think that should bring it down to -3 after 2 Parting Shots and an Intimidate, and then as Manectric hits the field here, it will be down to -4, so I believe this is also the last turn of Trick Room, so Eric's really, he's kind of running out of options here, because Snorlax, despite how slow it is, will be faster than Stack Attacka and able to hit it with the high horsepower and not be worried about flinches, even though it's been flinched twice already by the Rock Slide.
Yeah, a bit of a pickle for Eric right now, but I think at this point he's probably just trying to get any other information he can, since he's not in a very winnable spot. Volt Switch onto Stack Attacka, taken at almost half of its health. And so now really Angel's is cycling through that Manectric and Alolan Persian, really.
Right, and now even if Snorlax misses all of its high horsepowers forever, because that Trick Room is not up, Angel will be able to just use Manectric at some point to knock it out. But the high horsepower does land. It's going to be a 4 times effective attack onto that Sakataka, and it will have its wall knocked out.
There's the wall down, and Angel does get the win for this game 1 in this best of 3 series. But Angel really played that well, cycling between the parting shot and intimidate, getting around the melodics competitive that turn 1. So well played that game. But how do you think Eric should be adjusting here? Because that's definitely something like maybe keep the melodic in the back, possibly?
Yeah, either keep it in the back or just, be more active about protecting it. I think one thing that he could think about is maybe looking to bring like the Clefairy here, because Angel's strategy, if you look at, what's on his team here, is based almost entirely on single target moves. So if you bring that Clefairy out, it has the option to just continually follow me attacks. It can use moves like Helping Hand, like Heal Pulse, like Encore, all these supporting moves that could help to get my Milotic into a better position, which I think really is the key Pokemon for Eric in this matchup.
I mean, we even saw the Thunderbolt from just a regular Manectric doing about half onto the Melodic, and if Clefairy was there, it probably would have taken it to about maybe a third, possibly.
With the Friend Guard, yep.
Yeah, so like possibly that could be a good switch for Eric if he wants to consider that going into game 2, but I don't think Stack Attack really helped that match.
Yeah, I think maybe if you wanted to use Stack Attack, you could pair it up with something like Clefairy if you wanted to be more active and, attacking with your Trick Room mode. But I think, if this is me, and, there's a reason that I'm sitting here talking instead of playing, but I would be, targeting my Milotic as my game plan Pokemon, whether that be supporting it with Clefairy, bringing in like a Kartana to threaten some of its checks a little bit better. And Kartana is going to hit the field here, so we'll see where the Milotic is, maybe in the back, like you said, Dan.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But Eric leading off with that Kartana and Incineroar, Angel leading with his Alolan Persian and Mimikyu. So with that Kartana, well, I don't know. It's actually pretty evenly matched, I guess. Not one side has a clear advantage.
Yeah, I think, in leads like this, the edge always kind of goes to Persian just slightly because it does have the faster Fake Out.
Fake Out onto that. Oh, actually double target. Fake Out and Shadow Claw. Knockoff, though, from that Incineroar. But again, we already know it has no item except for that Mimikyu MZ. So it is able to bust its disguise. And with that, though, he's slowly going to be whittling away at Eric's side of the field.
Right, and I think what he did there with that Shadow Claw, which looked kind of inconsequential just in like the scope of just turn 1, but it did put it into range, I believe, to be knocked out by Persian's Foul Play. So I think that was kind of what Angel was going for here. Knocking out Kartana, which is really one of the big threats for his Mimikyu, if it's carrying something like a Smart Strike, or even if it just starts clicking Leaf Blades onto the thing, to different things, that can be a little scary to deal with.
Mimikyu switching out, Snorlax taking the field now, and Persian is going to go for that Foul Play, like you mentioned. It should be enough thanks to that drop in its HP,
not quite.
But okay, never mind. It does not get the knockout there, but we're going to get that, okay, I'm going to assume this is going to be the Z Tailwind right now.
No, this is actually a Bloom Doom.
Okay, I don't know, Bloom Doom and the Z, I don't know.
Go to
I don't
YouTube,
know.
Dan, and just watch some dances.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right. But with that, the Bloom Doom is going to be targeting that Snorlax now, and without an Intimidate on that Kartana, likely... Oh, okay. I guess it was Eevee Train to take that then.
Yep, it was able to hang on, but does knock the berry, does a huge amount of damage, and like you said, it hasn't been intimidated. It can't be intimidated next turn because for an Intimidate to happen before Manectric Mega Evolves, it has to be on the field for a turn. So Kartana's in a good position to click another attack here. Assuming it dodges the foul, or avoids, some sort of a foul play from Persian. So what Eric does with it here, he could use the opportunity to, try and get a free switch, but it is being threatened pretty heavily by Persian. And Incineroar, we've seen it a couple times. Some Incineroars have it, some don't, but if it does have low kick, now would be a good time to reveal it.
Kartana going for a Protect now, and with that, it does prevent the damage dealt from that attack. Flare Blitz from Incineroar, targeting that Alolan Persian, taking it well under half right now, and gets the burn, so pretty unfortunate there for Angel, so it's going to be not doing as much damage from its Foul Play, and Snorlax going to use that Recycle, so it'll be able to heal up that berry, but he just knocked off, so no berry for Snorlax.
Yeah, and I think it was actually able to get the berry there,
okay.
Because it was... I don't think it did take a
I
knockoff.
thought
no,
it just took
it just took the Bloom Doom, so I don't think it ever took a knockoff.
Oh, that's right. Okay, it did lose its berry. Okay,
right.
Never mind. Okay.
So it has its berry back. It ate its berry. Yeah.
Okay, there's a switch for Salamence now on Eric's side, lowering the attack on both of Angel's Pokemon. foul play from Alolan Persian, targeting that Salamence, taking it at about a third there, and knockoff again
There's
onto the
the
Snorlax. There we go, loses the Iapapa Berry, and Snorlax with the frustration onto that Incineroar. Takes about almost half there, but the burn from that Alolan Persian is just kind of like makes it a bit suffering there. You know, it can't do as much as it used to be.
Right, it can't do as much with the foul play, and even though foul play does use the attack stat of the opposing Pokemon that it's attacking, the user of foul play is still affected by the burn, so that damage is much reduced. And Eric is playing really well this game, has gotten himself into a pretty good position. It was a little scary there when he gave that Snorlax a free turn, because that was like, you played some BG 17, right? One of the golden rules of that format was just don't give Snorlax any free turns, because that's how you lose the game. But now Salamence is able here to just go for a Mega Evolution. It's threatening a knockout with a double edge onto that Persian, and then we saw that Incineroar is faster than Snorlax and can just knock that out.
There's the taunt now from Persian, perhaps predicting a switch or maybe even the Tailwind.
Oh, a Dragon
Dance. Okay, so perhaps he knew about Eric's set on that Salamence.
Maybe he watched Tommy's stream.
Yeah, that's very true. Flare Blitz from the Incineroar onto Snorlax will be getting the knockout now, and Persian gonna deal some more damage to itself thanks to that burn.
Right, and Persian's just kind of, sort of waiting until its time is up here, and Manectric is going to take the field. I think Angel, despite losing his Snorlax there, has worked himself into a pretty good position, being able to get a free switch into Manectric. He can Mega Evolve, get the Intimidate, and because, like we talked about, that Salamence is Adamant, Persian's going to be faster and get the opportunity to go for a parting shot if it chooses to do so.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably a very good play for Angel to go with right now, but Manectric also just going for a Mega Evolution and lowering the attack onto that Incineroar is going to be pretty important, but instead we're going to get the foul play onto the Salamence. Salamence going for an Earthquake, not a very common move you see on most Salamences, but it is going to be able to get the knockout on the Persian, and whoa, just barely surviving on that regular Manectric, not even Mega Manectric, regular. And we're going to get the knockout on all of the Incineroar and the Persian, but hidden power, likely hidden power ice, that is going to be ×4, so now Eric is going to lose that, but it also a critical hit, but honestly, I'm not sure. I think that was still taking it out, though.
If it's hidden power ice, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, exactly.
But, that was a really interesting turn there, because Angel decided not to Mega his Manectric for fear of Milotic switching in from the back, and almost paid for it when he had to take an Earthquake with his regular Manectric. But it looks like Eric actually didn't bring his Milotic, as he's going to bring Stack Attack onto the field and joined by its Steel-type Ultra Beast partner, Kartana.
Yeah, so as we see all 4 Pokemon on the field, I think now is a good time to probably Mega Evolve that Manectric.
Yeah, he's got no reason not to now, yeah.
And then possibly protected thanks to getting the boost in speed, and then Mimikyu, depending on what set, probably wants to be targeting that Kartana. He could probably just leave the Stack Attack for last.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, for Angel's position is that he doesn't really have a whole lot to do to prevent Stack Attack from setting up a Trick Room right now. And with the Rock Slide and then an eventual Gyro Ball onto Mimikyu, I think this is a good position for Eric. Last game, his Stack Attack did set Trick Room, but wasn't able to get a whole lot going. But now this is a really good position for it.
Thunderbolt onto Kartana. Kartana getting knocked out, not even able to do anything thanks to the that just speed on the Manectric being faster than it. And Sword Stance from the Mimikyu, increasing that attack by 2 stages. Gyro Ball targeting that Mimikyu now should be doing definitely enough damage.
Oh, huge damage, yeah. Especially with that Life Orb. Yeah, that's, I think, maybe the strongest attack in the format that can be consistently used over and over again, that Gyro Ball, because it does have such a high power when it's hitting some of these faster Pokemon. And even though Mimikyu is not, like, super fast like something like Manectric or Salamence, it's still significantly faster than Stack Attack.
Well, he did get a Paralyze.
Oh, boy.
He needs to get the Paralyze. He does.
Okay.
Really close there. Got that. If he got the Paralyze, full Paralyze, Eric would have likely been able to take that game, but wow, Eric gets the game for that round, that match, and we are on to Game 3 now.
We're on to Game 3, and Eric decided, like you were talking about before the game, that he wanted to use Stack Attack a little bit more as his plan instead of the Milotic, like I was kind of thinking about. And he, it worked for him, right? He didn't bring that Milotic, and the threat of it in the back was enough to make Angel not Mega Evolve his Manectric at a couple points during one point during the game. So even the threat of it and the fact that Milotic can just like take over games if you let it, can be really scary. And one of the main things that Angel could be using to deal with the Milotic is the Kartana. but he's been leaving it behind every game, so he has to be really careful with his Manectric.
I did like how Eric did adjust that, though, because, we saw last game he brought the melodic. This game he did not bring the melodic. And in the end, he was able to position himself properly so that Stack Attack was able to take full advantage of its typing.
Absolutely, and we're
stats.
going to jump right into Game 3 here. I believe, like the first 2 games, we're going to see our cat friend fake out users that are going to be leading from both sides. And Eric's got a plan. He's already locked in already. I wonder if his plan is to try and go back to what he did in the first game, or if he's going to try and switch it up a bit. But he looks pretty confident. He locked right in, and even Angel locked right in after.
They didn't waste any time.
These players are ready to go.
I think during that game 2, like they already were building up their game plan going into game 3 now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll be seeing them momentarily on the screen. So, like you mentioned, I'm going to assume we're going to see that Incineroar. We're going to see that Alone Persian. There's the Alone Persian. We are going to, Tapu Fini for Angel's side. We haven't seen that yet, but there's the Incineroar and the Kartana. So, going to get an Ultra Beast. We're going to get a Guardian Deity, and I don't know. I mean, it's kind of be a trade of KOs here right now in a way.
It could be a trade of KOs, yeah, definitely. Tapu Fini is in an okay position, being able to threaten Incineroar. And because Persian has the opportunity to go for a parting shot into that Kartana is really what makes the position for Fini. That said, it might want to be thinking about switching out, but the only thing is Angel doesn't have a ton of good switches to take one of those strong grass type attacks.
Well, Kartana going to just go for a detect now. Persian with a fake out onto that Kartana slot, and Incineroar with the fake out, so a bit of a null turn for right now, but definitely an exchange of Pokemon between them, between the fake out and the protect.
Right, there are a lot of mind games a little bit going back and forth here about whether or not one of these players is just going to go for an attack, just go for a parting shot instead of trying to fake out. But they both go here in deciding game 3 that could be deciding top cut for these players. They're going to be a little bit more safe as opposed to trying to go really gutsy and go for the read on turn 1 of game 3. That's something that I'm really guilty of. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to make a read on game 3 and just lose instantly. But Ice Beam from Tapu Fini.
Ice Beam we're also not really seeing a whole lot of on Tapu Fini's, possibly dropping. I'm curious what Angel decided to drop, but did get the double target. Foul play with the Ice Beam on Kartana, getting a KO and the knockoff on the Persian, so losing that Mago Berry, but really Angel did pretty good for that turn, getting the quick knockout on it.
So he did reveal that Scarf Fini. He was holding it in the back all 3 games, so that's probably something that Eric wasn't aware of. And, Eric's thinking that, okay, so Angel has nothing he can switch in to intimidate me, right? So, the worst thing that can happen is I take a foul play, I take a parting shot, and then I get the opportunity to Leaf Blade Tapu Fini. But that Choice Scarf plus an Ice Beam, which is something that you don't even see a lot of Choice Scarf Tapu Fini run, is revealed, and he's able to take the knockout on a really important Pokemon.
And with that, Tapu Fini switch as out for Snorlax, so he'll be able to readjust what move he wants to use with that Choice Scarf. Taunt on from that Alone Persian and the Incineroar with the Flare Blitz on the Snorlax. So Eric likely predicting the switch from Angel, and Trick Room being prevented from to use Trick Room. Stack Attack being unable to use Trick Room thanks to the taunt from Alone Persian.
Yeah, really important taunt there, and Alone Persian is really starting to take over this game a little bit. It's going to be able to start, going for some of those parting shots. It can use some foul plays and just kind of mix up a lot of the things that it has in its toolkit available to it. And Taunt was one of them right there, preventing the Trick Room.
Quick move selection by both players. Eric switching out of Stakataka for the Salamence, and another parting shot from the Alone Persian, targeting that Salamence, so we'll be able to be lowering the stats on it and probably deciding to switch out. I don't think he'll bring in that Tapu Fini, probably going to be another one of his Pokemon.
Well, I think it's something that he has to be able to switch into Incineroar pretty safely, and it is the Tapu Fini. If there is a knockoff going into that slot, though, Tapu Fini is not going to appreciate not having its Choice Scarf, but instead he gets maybe an even more important item by getting that berry on Snorlax.
But with that, the knockoff on the Snorlax, but the high horsepower onto the Salamence slot. So bit of an exchange from both players. I think, I guess Eric is still in a pretty good position, though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Eric's position is pretty good. The Scarf on Tapu Fini is really what makes it kind of scary, is you don't know, Tapu Fini has the potential to maybe take a knockout on either one of these Pokemon, and even do a lot of damage to Stack Attack should it switch in. So Eric, his position is very dependent on calling what Tapu Fini is going to do correctly.
And in addition, we also have the field under Trick Room, so Tapu Fini likely will be always moving last.
Oh, there's no trick room.
Oh
It
no,
was taunted.
it was taunted. Okay, I'm messing with the from the moves. Okay, well anyway, Mega Salamence now coming out on the field. Likely could even just go for a double edge, perhaps targeting either of these Pokemon, but instead just protect from it. Probably trying to scout out and at least be possibly faster than Tapu Fini, depending on how it's trained. I think that was Moonblast onto the Salamence and another knockoff onto that Tapu Fini. So we'll be losing that Choice Scarf now, and Salamence is going to be faster.
All right, so Salamence is faster now. So Eric, like we said, did call correctly what that Tapu Fini was going to do. And now Tapu Fini, is a couple things. The dynamic of the knockoff is several-fold. So it's not faster anymore, but it's also not locked into Ice Beam. So it can go for a water attack now into either slot and do super effective damage.
Stakataka is switching in now from that Salamence. Fake out, but that's not really going to do anything thanks to the switch and Moonblast from the Tapu Fini. Now being able to select a different move also, but again, not very effective thanks to its Steel typing. And Flare Blitz from the Incineroar onto that Alolan Persian, but again, it has that Fur Coat ability, so it's going to be sticking around for another turn.
Yeah, and that's a pretty decent amount of damage, all things considered, even with the Fur Coat. And of course, it doesn't have its berry right now, I believe, because it was knocked off. So this Incineroar is starting to take over the game a little bit. It's Eric's really, his whole game play is really picking up steam after game 1 here.
Stakataka going for a Protect, taunt onto that Stakataka, preventing, and Scowl double target by Angel, but Incineroar with the Flare Blitz targeting the Alolan Persian, so it will be enough to get the knockout on it. So Eric is in a really good spot.
Yeah, Eric's playing really well right now. Turn after turn after turn, he's calling correctly here. He knows that taunt's coming out, so he decides he's just going to protect Stakataka, and first Troubles even catches a Scald going into that slot. But Angel does have the opportunity to get his Manectric in for free, which we've seen be a pretty important factor in each of the games here so far. And it has no reason to not be Mega Evolving. We know that there's no Milotic in the back. It doesn't have any electric types that it needs to try and steal, so it's going to get an Intimidate off here.
And there, like you called it, we're going to get Mega Manectric now, so with that, it will have the Intimidate ability, dropping the attack stat on both of Eric's Pokemon. But with that, though, Tapu Fini, again, is free to select a different move. Could even go for a Muddy Water, but again, we didn't see all of its moves yet. Volt Switch from Mega Manectric onto Stakataka will be able to switch out and readjust his field right now.
Right, and now he's just going to go back to what was working for him, is going to start cycling in, cycling out, getting Intimidates, getting that really big Volt Switch damage onto, that's a lot of damage onto Stakataka. And finally, Tapu Fini is able to hit Stakataka with the attack that it's been trying to for, I think, 4 turns or so.
It's kind of funny, though, because it's like you mentioned, though, he lost the Choice Scarf, but again, that just means that he's able to choose whichever moves are more beneficial to him. Flare Blitz onto that Snorlax now, so with Snorlax being knocked out, this looks like Eric's game in a way.
Yeah, it's a little interesting here. Stakataka's gone, Kartana's here. Manectric is coming in, though, and we have seen the HP Ice, so I think here Angel might actually have Eric pinned because the HP Ice, I think the out for Eric here would be surviving an HP Ice and getting a double edge onto Tapu Fini.
Yeah, very likely, because again, it's going to be faster, and with Tapu Fini, it could try and probably just go for either an Ice Beam on the Salamence, Thunderbolt on the Incineroar, and that probably should be game.
Well, it's not Scarfed anymore, so I guess what's probably has to happen here is, unless each player is going to try and make a read, and I guess Eric is going to try and make a read here, the Hidden Power is going to come off, and we're going to have to see what Incineroar does.
Yeah, there's Tapu Fini with the Scowl. It's going to target that Incineroar, but looks like it's going to be able to survive.
That.
Likely going to be that Assault Vest on it, because there's the Flare Blitz now targeting that Tapu Fini, but again, thanks to its typing, it's not going to be doing enough damage.
Right, so this game is still going to come down to whether or not I think Salamence takes the Hidden Power Ice, because now Eric was able to, postpone it for at least a turn, get a little bit more chip damage onto Tapu Fini to make sure that even though Salamence has been intimidated, if it lives this Hidden Power Ice, it's going to knock out Tapu Fini.
Oh!
It takes it!
Okay, never mind.
Oh,
it did take it. Wow. So it takes the Hidden Power Ice, survives with a Silver of Health from the Hidden Power Ice, but a Moonblast onto some double target onto Salamence. Wow.
Wow, that was crazy. It looked like Eric tried to make a little bit of a read there and went straight for the Dragon Dance. So if he had gotten that up, he could have taken a double knockout with a boosted Earthquake. Yeah. but unfortunately, Angel, or fortunately, depending on who you're rooting for here, is able to see through that a little bit and go for the safe plays, double target that Salamence and make sure that it's knocked out. And there's no way Incineroar takes this game here.
Amazing play by Angel, but again, I think if Eric had just gone for it, like being a bit more offensive, you are down to your last 2 Pokemon, so might have been able to just go for an attack, but instead Angel will be taking the set 2-1 versus Eric Gansman.
Yeah, and what an awesome game 3. It looks like after game 1 that Angel was just like, 3 steps ahead of Eric at every turn there, and Eric just in game 2 just started busting out plays. He was making reads, he was getting, especially in game 3, he was in a pretty rough position early in the game, and then all of a sudden he calls Angel's moves correctly like 4 or 5 turns in a row, and we've got a game.
I mean, that was literally insane. It was like what? It was the protect to the knockoff to remove the choice scarf, and then still doing additional damage. So Eric was really calling it in that game 3, however.
Yeah, he definitely played that super optimally. Don't tell Tommy, but I think he plays that team better than Tommy does, and I've watched him play a couple of games. He's not around, is he? Okay, good. All right, so that'll do it here for round 7. We will see Angel, who was able to win here in round 7 in Top Cut, and of course Eric does have a chance to sneak into the back end of Top Cut as well, depending on resistance, how his opponents have been playing today.
Yep. So again, stay tuned. We'll be back with the top 8. And are we doing an interview or? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do an interview.
Yeah, of course. All right. We're going to interview with Angel Miranda. So stay tuned. Welcome back, Pokemon fans. I am back with Angel Miranda, the winner for round 7, that last stream match we had. Angel, congratulations.
Thank you.
And me and Brendan, we were talking about before your match started that you had come up with the Snorlax Mimikyu that used back in VG17 and it's VG18. And what do we see? Mimikyu Snorlax. So a great way for you to use an old team and just pretty much rehash it, basically.
Yeah. So this is my second time using Mimikyu Snorlax for my life. I used it once that first time, and I never used it again. Because I didn't get to play much 2017. I didn't get to many events. Once the format started, and I saw everyone using Hard Rain, the Pelipper, 5 Watermons. I was like, well, Mimikyu's pretty good versus Hard Rain mode, as long as you have an answer to Ferrothorn, which I kind of don't really have an answer to. But they usually have to lead into Ferrothorn. But I was like, okay, I'm going to use Mimikyu Snorlax. I was watching some games on ladder, and I saw one guy just destroying everybody with Silk Feeny Kartana. I'm like, people aren't answering this pretty well. People don't have real answers to this. So I'm going to use that. I just took Scarfini, Kartana. Manectric's really good because it gives Lightning Rod for the Feeny, and it gets the benefit of Soak.
Exactly. So, you get the Intimidate also for Mega Manectric.
Yeah, and Volt Switch to get Mimikyu Snorlax. And then Persian's just really good with it.
It's just all around a really solid team. But
I just took 2017 stuff and put it together.
That's pretty much exactly. But in addition, Mimikyu Z, we've been seeing it all over for the tournament. At least half of the tournament is running that. And it looks like people have been able to figure out that how strong it is. The Z move, Let's Snuggle Forever, and all the damage it does deal with it. But going back into the game now, between those first 2 games, it was kind of critical. He wasn't, we saw the Melodic in the beginning. We knew about the competitivity. You have 2 Pokemon that can drop their stats, but again, you still played that perfectly, getting around it. But in that next game 2, though, and even game 3, just seeing him trying to adjust and setting up the, I think it was the Trick Room with a Sack Attacker, and even with the, I don't know, but just going all around, though, how did you play out from those 2 games into the game 3, though?
So game 1 was pretty easy. I just needed to maneuver around stuff as long as I just didn't mess up my board. Game 2, I forgot to Mega Evolve. I don't think it mattered. I lose that game anyway. But yeah, I forgot to Mega Evolve. And I kind of made it easier for him to win. But and then Game 3, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna adjust. He misplayed turn 1 by going for the fake out on the Feeny.
Yeah, we were confused about that. Yeah.
It would have been in a weird spot. I would have to like play around Cartana, but
I mean,
made it much easier for me.
I also like how you kept, like you saying with the outmaneuvering, because you kept cycling between Alolan Persian and Manectric, between the Intimidates and the Parting Shot. So I guess that was one way to mitigate against Eric's team specifically.
So I knew the Ments wasn't fast. It was like bulky Ments. So I knew Persian was faster because you saw Game 1. And then as long as I can keep control, like Parting Shot, I can intimidate it. And I keep the stack attack at bay as long as I don't give it any free KOs, which is kind of hard to do because I have Mimikyu. And then Manectric takes a lot if I'm not, you know, if he's not -1 or anything like that. So as long as I didn't give it any free kills, it was pretty easy to maneuver around. And I didn't give it Trick Room.
And even with the knockoff, once he did that onto your Tapu Fini, we were thinking at first, okay, it's not really good, but at the same time, it actually freed you up to, you know, do your more moves properly.
So turn 1, if he knocked off, I was in a really weird spot, but the second time, when he actually did the knockoff, I was ready for it as long as I got the Persian in that turn, so I can fake out, pin down the Ments. And then after that, Incineroar can now get scalded, and I can do all the other stuff. And stack attack, I can scald it now, so I have to switch up between moves. So the timing of when he knocked off helped me a lot.
Gotcha.
So if he did it a lot earlier, I would have had a much harder time.
Makes sense. All right, well, do you have any shout-outs before? We're almost down. This is the last round. We're going to be moving on to top 8 momentarily.
Yeah, shout out to all my friends. Shout outs to Joe for giving me the cart because I actually don't own Sun and Moon. I don't own the cart.
We were joking, Joe versus Tommy, literally.
Yeah, so I don't have the cart. Shout outs to Hibiki who gave me the Pokemon. Shout outs to Aaron Trailer, Gavin, who helped me build the team, helped me like talk about the team, give me ideas. Shout out to all the Emotos because, you know, my best friends. Shout out to Jody who also ran the same team. He didn't do well. I'm watching him play and I'm like having a heart attack because he just misses playing all the time. But Jody's kind of like slow, so whatever. Yeah, shout out to Cybertron. Got me into the game. I gave birth to him. Gave birth to Brendan too and beat him down today. But that's about it.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
Cool.
I'm going to win the tournament. So.
Well, we'll be seeing you in top 8, but when we come back, we'll be going over the archetypes for this format. You know, since a lot of newer players are just getting into it, so we'll get into that. We'll do some explanation and we'll have some slides for you. So stay tuned.